So I'm Christopher Zimmerman. I am a principal product manager here at Magnolia, and I've been working on, among other things, a UI project. It's time for a new UI for Magnolia, and this is something that we've already started working on. So what are the components of this new UI? There's kind of three main ingredients. The design itself, a new design for how the Admin Central should work. Then getting more concrete, a design system to help actually implement that design for developers. And then technically how the actual front end that is going to become Admin Central. So let's go through those three. First, let's look at the new design. I mean, this is just a sneak peek of a few mock-ups. You also saw some in the previous presentation of the vision. So with the new design, we keep what's important for Magnolia. We keep the app launcher. We keep the content app concept, page editor, and so forth. But we move to, again, just a more modern feel, more modern practices. Also, we enliven the Admin Central with more colors than just green. There's other colors in the palette. So, yeah. But we're also leaning into, it doesn't have to. We don't have to do things in a unique way, and sometimes doing things in a unique way makes it harder for somebody to understand the product. So where there are good patterns, we lean into the existing patterns. We lean into how the browser is being used. We lean into actual browser tabs. So while some of the things are staying quite familiar, probably one of the biggest changes that we're proposing with the new design are navigation principles, that you always know where you are, and by doing so, we can also make much more efficient usage of the space and the real estate there, which gives us room for nice things like AI tooling or other like statistics that will help us or help content authors do their job well. So this is a sneak peek. If you're interested, our lead designer would love to speak to you to get your impressions of the mock-ups and the direction that we're going. And you can reach out to feedback@magnoliacms.com to get in touch. Second up is the design system. So here's where we start to hit the metal. It's all based on design tokens over here on the right side. You can see that everything has very organized structure for all of the usage patterns and colors, transitions. Here you can see just a mock-up of, or actually a screenshot of the design system in Figma. And then this goes, so we're doing all the designs in Figma, but based on design tokens, which means we can very flexibly, very agilely change things about the design on demand. And also, the other side of the design system are an actual component library written in React that all developers can use in their UI experiences. So this is something that it's in private beta. You can again contact us at feedback if you'd like to join the private beta. The design system is being used by Magnolians right now as we work on the new UI components for 6.4. And it's available for developers writing extensions. That's kind of part of the concept, is that the design system lets you create extensions within Magnolia that are, adhering to the design, that have all the great usability that we're engineering, and of course, all the accessibility is baked right into the components, and we're building. It's like accessible first component library. And then as far as the design system, what are sort of the principles that are guiding that? Again, we're trying to lean into the existing mechanisms and technologies that exist already. So we're very much focused on the web platform. We're very much focused on HTML and CSS because that brings so much power and the browser is continually being optimized for those features. And we use JavaScript where necessary, where it's not possible with just HTML and CSS. The components are, quote unquote, headless components in the design system. So the actual design is separate from the functionality. So the library, delivers all of the functionality, and then with the tokens from the design system, add on that actual visual, padding and all those sorts of things. So those are separate. And then, probably the other thing I wanted to mention is that it's very much. We made the choice at the beginning to make the system flexible. Like, one of the reasons that we didn't want to use an available design system on the market is that you always, in the beginning, it's all dandy and fine and sunshine, and then you hit the thing that's not right for you, and it's just a total pain in the butt to work with. So we wanted to make sure that our design system was flexible. It's kind of the Magnolia way. So it's maybe at the cost of some verbosity. Here's like a menu item, and then the menu is even bigger, but it means that you can have total control of how the thing is being laid out, and you have total control if you want to bring in your own, flavor to an existing Magnolia design system component. Yeah, so overall, the benefits of the design system are that it's bringing that visual consistency, it's bringing the accessibility, it accelerates development, and as I mentioned, it's in private beta, so get in touch if you want to give it a shot. So this is the third component of the new UI. So we're building a new front end in Magnolia, and it's happening in many places, and we're taking the approach of islands of new UI within the existing UI. So as Philip mentioned before, we do not want to have a big bang release. We don't want you to wait for it, but we also think it would just be much harder to adopt. And so we're taking the strategy of certainly anything new, any new feature we're building, let's consider building that in the new UI, which is what we're doing in the case of the global search. We're doing it. We were anyways doing this dependency workflow. We've decided to do that in the new UI. There's a whole new app. The new feature in development, very secretive. It's the package manager, and it'll be the first full app written using the new UI. But not just that, not just those opportunistic changes, but the accessible forms is sort of a bigger change where it's all about the new UI and where we thought it's like a very strategic, big component. If we can bring in the forms, then all of a sudden your projects are interacting directly with the new UI, and it's a huge step towards the new UI. Yep, so these are all in development now and will be released either as a part of or as an extension related to the 6.4 release. Okay, I think it'd be useful to dive into the accessible forms themselves. Forms are really the heart of your content model. The forms are the heart of the content model for your project. As was mentioned, they're sort of like an implicit content type. They are the thing that, they're throughout the product. They're a thing that, where the authors spend much or maybe even most of their time, right? Because they're in the content apps, they're in the page editor, all the components that come up have the forms. So they have a huge impact on the user experience. Once we transition the forms, we're like halfway there. And then they also have a big impact on the developers. As I mentioned, it's a part of your content type. So it's going to be a big impact for you as well to have the new forms. So what we have here is the screenshot over here is the Cakes app. It's a demo project that comes along with this tech preview. Just a few more mentions, sort of our goals and objectives with the new UI is the WCAG 2.2 AA. And we're looking for at least a first step, trying to get 80% compatibility there. And a really big part of accessibility is the keyboard accessibility, and we've got a starting goal of 90% there. Cool. With that, let's take a look at the accessible forms. So here's this Cakes app. It's sort of the kitchen sink app. You may have noticed right away when I opened, the first field was already auto-selected, so the user can just start typing. On the right side, you see like validation has passed. It's a valid entry. You see this really nice bright green highlighting or red highlighting when it's not valid. We've got like real-time validation on the email. This is all being done with keyboard navigation, so no mouse was used in the creation of this video. In the Vaadin fields, you can't even open the calendar with the keyboard. We've got a lot of things in the Magnolia forms. So here we've got a max length. You can see it like updating on the fly. Very nice design with that. Then, of course, we've got the checkboxes, the checkbox with the defaults, the list select field, creating this little token. We've got the filtering. So you can see there's a lot of things to support, each field with all of its properties. Although we are removing some of the functionality that's kind of dated. So now we've got the multi-fields. Again, after you create a new multi-field item, it has the focus immediately. And then, of course, we've got the multi-fields for the composites. Also, when you create them, the mouse is highlighted, or the focus is highlighted where you need it. And then if you go to something like a destructive action, you're getting that red highlight. And anyways, the groupings are much more visible than they are now in the Magnolia forms. So what do you think? Look okay? All right. So then just about the accessibility, one of the key things, well, I mentioned the keyboard accessibility before, and the other side is for like vision impaired or otherwise impaired. They need to get information from the system, from the browser, from the voiceover or the screen reader. So that is done with these ARIA tags. You've probably heard about those. So that stands for Accessible Rich Internet Applications. And it's basically like meta information that you can put on your fields for the screen reader. So it includes things like roles. You know, like an ARIA role could be button, heading, link, dialogue. Because in HTML, even with semantic HTML, there's some things that, like a UL in an unordered list, that could be a link, even though it's a UL tag. So that's why you need this kind of meta information. And they are rich internet applications. So you also need states, like if it's expanded, if something is pressed, if it's checked, all that information. So that's all the work that goes into making something truly accessible. So it does work with a screen reader. I'm not going to demonstrate that. It's pretty wild if you've ever tried it. It takes a lot of practice to really deal with a screen reader. But it's kind of in its place, and also nice because it's numbers. I used the Wave plugin. It's an accessibility scanner on the Vaadin forms versus the accessible forms. So on the Vaadin side, there's that blue rectangle. I kind of highlighted a few of the key values versus on the accessible forms. And if we look at all those numbers, they're all improving. In particular, let me call your attention to this value down here. This is the ARIA errors, basically. And in the Vaadin, we've got 479 errors. And in the new forms, we've got 51. Okay, 51 isn't perfect. But a lot of these errors are coming from things that haven't been optimized yet, like the header and the navigation. And if we look at the form itself, here you can see the errors. Here there's actually no errors visible. So it's quite nice. Okay, so that's the 3 ingredients of the new UI. What does this mean for you as developers? Well, you get a lot with a new UI. So you get a fresh look and feel. You get great usability. You get this optimization for accessibility. It's going to be more performant. It's going to be tech that devs want to work with, and it's going to be future-proof extensibility. Magnolia, we ourselves are going to be able to ship better features faster. This is, I mean, one of the things that we really wanted to do was get design and development closer together, and we really see having the design system and the front-end technology stack is allowing us, and we've already seen that in operation, how they can just sit down together and iterate over solutions much, much faster. And then for you, you can deliver more attractive projects and win more deals. Again, just a screenshot of the colorful new UI. Okay, and then there's the question about what does this mean for you as far as effort and migration? And I'm happy to be able to share with you that it's more or less a drop-in replacement. It implements the current form definitions. This makes it easy to adopt. However, I do want to highlight that we're not going to implement blindly every single feature that's in the present body and forms. This is a great opportunity to remove things that they're just like edge cases, or they were just added over time but have sort of lost their significance. So we're going to remove some things, and some things we just haven't had a chance yet, to convert. So we're starting with all of the key forms and properties, fields that are part of like standard Magnolia. But of course, you may be using an extension which has a custom field, or the project might have a custom field. So the way that works is why we say it's optional and easy to adopt is that if your form is using a field that we haven't implemented yet or hasn't been implemented yet, then it will just render the body and form. Everything is still going to work. For the forms where all of the fields are supported, it's going to render the new UI. So there's going to be this transition period as fields and extensions are ported, but we have this system in place so that with a minimal effort, you can upgrade basically one form at a time. And this is kind of nice if you imagine your conversation with your customer. Oh, there's another migration. How much is that going to cost? Really, do we have to do that? Well, for each a bit that we invest, you're getting that new UI and you're getting that accessibility in that field. So it's like a concrete incentive. Yep. And just wanted to close with, again, about this migration. I mean, eventually, on the downside, eventually all Vadian fields will need to be ported to the new UI. So that is something that is going to need to happen. But of course, we've got that fallback as mentioned. And just a note on the custom fields. So they're going to be built with standard front-end tech. And again, as mentioned, with the Magnolia design system. So you have that tool there for building out new fields. Does this sound familiar to anybody in the room? Sound like another technology? It's basically very much following the pattern of the JavaScript UI. That same approach. And this means, taking this approach means it's going to be easy for you to build accessible UIs as well. Thanks a lot. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So if you have any questions about the new UI, I don't have any prepared questions for my own talk this time, but.
First question is, the presentations, can we download them after later?
I think so, yeah. I'm getting a head nod. Please. Yes.
Second question is there are also changes on the page editor? Do we get rid of the green bars?
Wow. That's a great question, and I anticipated that question, but I didn't pre-prepare the answer for you. But I don't know if it's released yet or not. But there is kind of parallel, tangential to this investment. There is another smallish project that does get rid of the green bars, but I'm not sure of the current status of that. But we'll get back to you. Unless, yeah, it's there. There is something cooking. We'll let you know. I just didn't know if it was released yet. But I mean, hey, and the second answer to your question is it's very relevant within the page editor as far as every form that opens up, right? Choosing a template, filling out the form for a component, that's all compatible with the new UI. With the same caveats, only if the form is fully implemented in the new UI. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
I want to ask the question regarding this design system. So how do we register for this private beta program for the new design system?
Yeah, you can send me an email at feedback@magnoliacms.com, or just approach me later if you see me around, and we can talk.
Okay, I was just confused because it was feedback.
Feedback. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can also find Topher's email on the screen, so just take a screenshot from him.
I think we have a...
So first thing, I also wanted to talk about the editor bars, because that is also often a pain for us if you want to edit a component on the bottom of the page. But it's maybe kind of nested in different layers. So you want to edit a component on the bottom, but first you have to click into a bar on the top, so that the bars on the bottom open. And also second thing is when you edit a component, and you save it, and then the whole page reloads instead of just reloading the component that I changed, which is kind of not.
Yeah, I can share with you there. So as mentioned before, there will be an incubator coming out, which brings a lot of visual improvements to the page editor.
I can chip in here.
Yeah, please.
Do you hear me? Yeah.
Is this on?
Is it on? All right. So for the green bars, we actually did release a small incubator module. It does rely on the existing green bars. We just kind of make them look nicer, smoother, cleaner. We also exactly work a little bit to make the things that are editable seen at the first glance. So you don't have to exactly what you said, just click through and see stuff. But the magic behind this is just a CSS. So frankly, you can also try to tweak it to what exactly are your needs. It's an incubator module, just replaces pages app CSS, so you can kind of see what we've done, kind of try to adjust it to your stuff. Just go to me or Topher, I'll show you exactly what it is. It isn't just a simple stuff. You just drop inline module and you have it immediately. And it does kind of solves a lot of pain points that you just mentioned, but it obviously can go a little bit further. But because we've relied on the existing green bars infrastructure, we couldn't do everything. But that's going to come with this new brand amazing stuff that Topher just poured you for the last 30 minutes.
Well, yeah, and there is one other thing, which is, yes, we have started like research process. Many of you have actually been interviewed and involved in that on the page editor. So I can give any timeline on that, but there is definitely like an interest and an understanding that it's time to up the level of the page editor. It's pretty exciting stuff that's being developed there.